the very first thing that a coach is a leader. And I would say the other kind of force in my life is kind of a weird one. It was just tennis itself.
All right, welcome to another episode of A'lotta Racket Podcast, where the host, myself, Roger Slinger Smith. On my right, Coach Victor Troy Collins. On my left, Coach Terry T-Dawg Davis. And that's a D-A-W-G, by the way.
Bust him up, T.
And again,
Baby, bust them up.
and again on my left, my son, the one and only Errol Easy Smith.
Yes, sir.
Look, we have honest conversations about life experiences, especially on our journey to the professional ATP Tour. And where we bring experts in the sports and entertainment world to talk about what it takes to not only be a champion, but also how to create champions, both on and off the court. In each episode, we have new topics and bring on acclaimed guests to share their expertise and insights on developing top young athletes to achieve success in sports and life. And today, we are privileged and just honored to have Mr. Brother from Another Mother, Peter, and I'll let you say the middle name, Smith.
Long Beach, all the way from Fresno Beach.
I just want to run through a few things before we even get with it, all right? Some of your accolades, man. I think it's fair to say that Peter is probably the most decorated, successful coach in the last 25 years. And when I say 25 years, could be even more. That's just having respect for other coaches, but it could even be more, Peter, man. Our hat just goes off to you, man. 5 NCAA championships, team championships. 2-time College National Coach of the Year.
Should have been all 5. If he won 5 championships, why didn't he get... Come on, that don't make no sense right there. You see that?
Debatable. We'll see. 5-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year. Now that should have been freaking more than that. But anyway, who are we? We're just coaches here. Look, man. Let's start there for a second. How was it to win 5 national championships in 6 years?
Yeah, fun. I mean, you love to compete. You love to win. It's just fun. And if you look back, all the guys on the team, they had such success afterwards. That's super enjoyable to win and then just see them go on to great things on the professional tour. I mean, Yannick Hanfman is now 44 in the world. He finally broke through this year. He's 31 years old. He played number 1 for us one year, but yeah, just a blast.
Wow. And for a long time, of recent too, they've always said that if you go to college, you kind of diminish your chances for success on the tour. And coaches like you and players that you've coached, and as well as others, have changed that. Because when you look even in the women's tour now, you have like 15 ladies that went to college that are top 100 or so.
Yeah, I mean, I think tennis was a little messed up in how they viewed it. Because, they took a snapshot of how you were when you're 18 years old. And no other sport did that. And now, you have guys playing well into their 30s. So it changed, the parameters of it. And so that's a good thing. That's a good thing for everybody because everybody develops and grows up at different stages in their life. And most young men are not developed by the time they're 18. They're just not. So, just because someone is there at 18 doesn't mean they're going to be somewhere at 25. So, opportunities and chances were not going to the college guys. And people like John Isner and Steve Johnson, Kevin Anderson, they kind of changed that perception.
Thanks to coaches like you and yourself, for sure.
I can speak now?
Yes, sir.
I think that's an idiotic. I thought that was an idiotic concept. I don't think it was an American concept. And it unfortunately set back American tennis. I think a big part of American fiber and socialization is college. And all our other great sports take that path. And, this is a podcast, so I think it was a horrible concept that us Americans took from Europe and other places because they don't have the great college systems that we have and the great socialization that you experience going to all these incredible NAIA junior colleges all the way up to Division I. So I thought it was kind of like an attack on the American fiber for us to buy into this concept that you should turn pro early on.
Now, in Europe, they have what's equivalent to college tennis is team tennis.
No, it's nothing like college, having a whole...
Yeah, I think...
Go ahead, Pete, speak on that.
In Europe, you got to make a decision of what you're going to do in life. Are you going to go to academia? Are you going to do a trade or whatever? But those decisions are made at like 15, 16, and that's where you got to go to high school. It's very early. So, who knows where it came from, but, I'm just happy everybody's getting opportunities and everybody's...
No, it's okay to say it came from Europe. After all, we emancipated Europe in World War II. We are America.
Saying it came from Europe.
Yeah, Troy Collins, as far as I'm concerned with that record, he should have been the Davis Cup captain. Because what you're showing is just like the great Alabama coach or other great coaches across the board. You are a leader of American young men, and you're showing success at that by winning these championships. So you are a leader, okay? And it's just 5 championships, it speaks for itself.
Well, I would say the very first thing that a coach is a leader. That's number one. So, that
trickles down from the top, baby.
Yeah, you set an example and you have to lead. Period.
Yeah. And just kudos to you for being able to captivate those young minds and with their schooling and their tennis, and not to be able to do it once, but to be able to dominate over an extended period of time. That's that Nick Saban.
But what was that thought process going through it? Obviously you're winning so much, and it's you're trying to manage a team. Like, what is your thought process on it? It's just like, okay, let's just get back out for another one. All right, let me put the work in and let me try to get these guys right to get their mindset to do another one.
Well, first of all, anytime you're successful, it's about the people that are bringing that success. So the players were incredible. The guy who served it out first was Robert Farah, kid from Colombia. What a story he is.
I remember him.
Born in Beirut, Canada to Colombia, and he quit tennis. He went to USC. He didn't tell me this. He's like, yeah, I was done. I was burned out. And he, ended up being number 1 in the world in doubles, won Wimbledon, won US Open. So he's playing 1, Steve Johnson's playing 2. That's a pretty good one too. But, fortunately you're at a school like USC where when you win, they're like, all right, that's great. That's what we're supposed to do here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we didn't get too carried away with it. And I used to have a team meeting, first meeting, I'd be like, okay, last year's done. We got it. This is our, because every team is its own little entity.
Right.
And I tried not to get too caught up in all that stuff. And so, it was like, hey, let's just be the best we can be. It changed, it evolved some with Stevie doing so well and coming back. So I'd say that 4th year we won it felt very different than all the other years. Because I know he gave up a lot of money to come back, and I just didn't want it to fail for him. That was, and when he won, probably the only time I broke down crying because I was so relieved for him that it wasn't a failure, that he gave up hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this, and we did it.
I'm a firm believer in this as a coach too, that winning becomes a habit.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'll go a step further, the winning mindset becomes so instilled in you that it's like the only way. There is no other way.
Right.
How did you kind of enforce that, not just with the USC kind of, hey, this is how we do things, but even getting each player to buy into that? Because that's the hardest part, actually. Not any coach can be at USC and still accomplish what you accomplished. There had to be something you did to pass on that winning mentality. How did you instill that in all these guys with different mentalities,
Yeah, I mean, I think it always starts with hard work. I would always say, I was kind of a mule. I love to work. I really do love to work. So being there early and just getting everybody on the same page. So communication, being super competitive, but I really believed that the captains were the most important people. So I was super fortunate to have some great guys. So the captains, the leaders of the team, and myself were really together. And it just was a waterfall from there. Guys would go against me, but they weren't going to go against someone like Robert Farrer or Steve Johnson. And we were just so together. And that was just something I really enjoyed. I've always enjoyed people. I've always enjoyed helping others, leading others. And, so it just evolved. It wasn't like some grand plan I had. You're just out there busting it, working your hardest, trying to make people better in the right way. And you get lucky. I mean, you just get lucky a little bit to have just these incredible individuals. And then you just make the most of it.
But every coach, most coaches, go into, like you said, and they keep it that simple. You had to have done something special. I'm sorry. Because they bought into it. Every coach, I think, can go there and say the exact same thing you just said. Hey, we keep the culture. We just got good captains. There's something, and you said it starts from the leader. There was something you did different that stood out to me. What can you connect that to, man?
Yeah, I don't know. I think as a human, I changed when I had kids. I learned to really love on a different level. It sounds weird to say it, but by the time a lot of my guys were seniors, they would say, "I love you, coach." I mean, that's really powerful. And I think those guys really felt like I would do anything for them. And I think it was it went both ways. And so, that connection can really overpower. And when you're in the quarters, semis, finals, you got to have that will. I mean, that's what we called upon. And that, we called it a brotherhood. We called it a trust. I mean, talk is cheap.
Right.
Talk is very cheap. And a lot of people can talk it, but, you got to be able to go out and do it. And when you do it, then the talk isn't so cheap. So we didn't do much talking. We just did a lot of playing.
Walk it like you talk it.
Yeah.
And now I've known you for a long time, Peter, and you're very personable. You remember the first time we met, man? We met on that satellite.
Yeah.
By the way, we won that satellite. Did we play Troy? I think we kicked Troy.
Yeah, you guys beat me and you guys took us out.
I think we took Troy out at one point, man.
I was so jealous.
I'm getting it back because on another podcast he talked about beating me. So.
No, I was a gentleman about it.
Yeah, I mean, here's the story.
No, you guys are tough. Pete had a big first serve down the tee.
Backhand, man. Backhand.
Yeah, and his two-hand backhand. He played well. He's really good, solid. But he's so cowboy. Play hardcourt, SoCal boy. Shout out to Long Beach and Pete and all the SoCal players down there, those 49ers and all that. It's good tennis in Southern California, man.
Yeah.
And he's a prime example of it. All the way from Corona Del Mar, I'm not going to put San Diego in there, but from Corona Del Mar all the way up to maybe Santa Monica back in the day. Just great tennis, man. So,
You were going to say something about
How did we end up playing doubles? I mean, how was I lucky enough?
That was Kentucky.
How was I lucky? Yeah, it was Kentucky. Yeah, we did well.
No, I'll tell you what. I think I saw you after Wimbledon in Newport, Rhode Island.
We played there. Do you remember that first set? Oh, geez.
Yeah, but then I remember talking to Peter Doohan, and he said, dude,
Oh my God.
At the time I kept losing last round qualies. And he said, look, man, why don't you play a satellite? Losing last round qualies, you didn't get points at the time. Go down, win some matches, get your ranking up, blah, blah, blah. I think you found that I was going to play, and you hit me up and you said, hey, man, I see you're going to play this satellite, man. Hey, let's play doubles.
Oh, good for me.
And I said, let's go. And I said,
was recruiting back then. I was recruiting. I was smart.
And we did.
Yeah, we did.
We did. And how do we do?
And I remember we won a couple of them.
I just want to know what happened in the first set.
No, that's embarrassing.
Somebody got to talk about that.
Who did we play? See, I don't even remember those sets, though. We don't like to
We won
remember.
the second set.
We don't
We laughed after the first set. We were like, how did we lose that bad?
You played with the Prince Graphite too.
Yep, mid-size.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah.
Unbelievable backhand. You teach second call?
I called that out, didn't I? The Prince Graphite too, didn't I?
That's it. But the hardest stroke to teach is the one that comes so natural to you.
Mm-hmm.
You think I ever thought about hitting a backhand?
You just hit it.
My middle son, Riley, teases me all the time because I once said, well, I got my backhand because I played 7 years of ice hockey.
Ooh.
So I was a lefty. It was natural.
There
Never
you
had to think
go.
about it.
There you go.
Turn and hit.
We
There
finished
you
second on
go.
that satellite, by the way.
We finished second.
It came down to the finals. We lost
No.
in the finals of the Masters to your boy, Ricard Berg. Remember?
That hurt.
Yeah, I know, right?
Richard
I blocked
Berg?
that from my memory.
Lake of the Ozarks.
Yes.
Oh, God, yeah.
We lost in the finals there, the finals match, to finish number one. We wanted it too bad because we did not want to lose there. But that was a sweet satellite.
Yeah.
That was a sweet satellite.
Yeah, that was
It was hot in Lake of the Ozarks. My
The
God.
whole Midwest, man,
Yeah.
it was hot. But I was starting this by saying, knowing you so long, Peter, you're very personable, right? And you're known as a player's coach. All the players that I know that played at USC under you, when you talk about love, that's all they talk about. That, to me, is the key to you.
Yeah.
You were a player's coach. They connected because they knew it wasn't just about tennis for you.
You cared.
You cared. And I'm sure you did a lot of things that helped them succeed that you can't even talk about some of the time because you don't know how it is in college and stuff. Right. But you just did so much for them, man. And hat goes off to you because I think a lot more coaches need to develop that. It's not just developing a forehand. It's not just winning. It's developing the whole person.
Yeah.
And going the extra step to help them succeed. And that's where you come in, man.
Well, there's that saying, players don't care what you know until they know that you care. And I never knew that saying. I mean,
Me either.
I don't like that stuff, but I mean, you love your guys, you love helping them, you love developing them. And to me, if I was just developing tennis, it's a little boring.
Yeah.
Right.
It's about the whole person. It's, and for me, when I'm at like somebody's wedding and guys had a couple and he comes up and he's like, hey coach, I love you, man. You made a difference in my life. It's guys don't say that a lot. And that is so meaningful to me.
Unbelievable. How did you get into tennis? When did you start tennis and how did you develop into tennis?
Well, I was the youngest of 5 kids. We grew up and we were living in Connecticut. That's how I played hockey. I skied. I did all these sports, but we had a big driveway. and my mom put a net across the driveway, and we started playing tennis.
That's beautiful, man.
And I was 6.5 years younger than the next sibling, and the oldest one, Kevin, bless his heart, bless his soul, he was teaching tennis, and I would just go. I was a little kid, I'd just go, and so I just started, and I'd play, and belonged to some Pine Acres Country Club with some clay courts. I went back there 3 years ago when I took my youngest son, and we were like, man, this looks like it hasn't changed one bit from the 70s. And so, you're just a little top, following everyone around.
Well, how did you get to Southern Cal?
So, it's a very small town in Connecticut. It's just some stuff. My mom, my dad retired, and my mom said, I'm getting in the car, I'm driving to Southern Cal. Wow. She says to the dad, you can come with me, or you can stay at the YMCA, but we're going. And we just went. So I was in 9th grade.
Did he come?
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom did the same thing with my dad. You can you can stay or come.
My dad was born and raised in Ireland. He was Irish. And so he went out, he just loved playing tennis, he loved competing. And we just went. So I moved to La Costa, Pancho Segura, the craziness of that club, owned by the mob, Bobby Riggs, Lorne Kuehl, Pancho. It was like a world I didn't even know existed. I mean, it doesn't exist anymore, to be quite honest.
Right. Yeah.
So, and then I just focused on tennis.
And then you ran into these guys at some point in Southern Cal?
Yeah.
No, we played. I didn't. He was a Long
y'all
Beach boy.
played?
I played in the first tournament I played in was a NCAA tournament. I didn't know he was Irish. If I'd known that was Irish, I'd have took him serious. God damn it. I'm sorry. You got to do a lot of bleeping out. See, I didn't do my research.
We're getting real.
So you all played?
Yeah, he got me, man. Remember the San Diego tournament? He was a newcomer, so I wasn't,
You didn't.
Year before that, I smoked.
Like my return too much.
I smoked. Year before that, I was the man. I smoked Claparta 4-0. I went through everybody. So the next year, my college sweetheart didn't dry my clothes all the way.
Wow.
So
I've heard of a lot of excuses,
but I didn't do my research. My clothes was a little damp. And I had to play somebody named Peter Smith. You might have had something around your head. Like back then. Like he might
I have no idea what he means right now.
He was a warrior. And I think he took me in straight sets, and it was cool. He's a good guy.
Now, Detroit. Can I say something?
Yeah.
You got your other podcasts, right?
Yes.
Everybody that you beat, that's the first thing you said. I've never ever seen you backpedal.
Yep.
Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath.
That is true. Oh, hey, you in his mind psychological.
I got it. You got that Irish blood. You got that Conor McGregor blood in him. That Conor McGregor in him.
Let me tell you. I saw you slouch down on the couch.
Yeah.
Come on, man. But you know what? I'm gonna pay homage to my brother. I got that ass.
You got it. See that? That's why I love T.
I knew that's why Terry was.
He cut smoke up. Yeah.
He was quiet. He was waiting for his moment.
That's what Big Brother's supposed to do when little brother get it. Big Brother's supposed to come on in.
I was so geeked up to play Peter Smith at Chapman College. Wait, what was this? Peter Smith was the man.
Yeah.
Still was, still is, and always will be.
Yeah.
You know was. But I was so like, in that, there's no get these returns.
You went to the backhand.
Wait. I went high to the backhand.
Oh, you kicked it on him.
Because up in here, he was like,
That was the worst.
he was like, he was doing this. And then I said, okay, let me go kick high to the backhand, but it didn't break out. and he just went. He just went.
It was sitting.
And I didn't get a chance to get in my split step. It came back so fast. So then I said, and then one of the brothers from the basketball team walked in. He said, "Bust him up, T."
No way.
Peter started laughing.
Wait.
Peter started laughing.
Yeah, I was only laughing because we had a 12-foot fence between us.
He started laughing. That's crazy. But I stopped hitting it to that side.
You had to.
I stopped, and then I started trying to go a little bit on that hip. Where he had to move a little bit. So he hit it, but I could still get a volley.
Wow.
But then you served him out wide on the forehead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was so happy, man. I'm sorry.
And you were at Long Beach and you was at Chapman and they scheduled you. That's a tough schedule to play
I
Chapman.
knew who Peter was because I spent a lot of time in Long Beach.
Yeah.
Behind the gate, watching people play.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have to go to Chapman. You guys come to us.
That's right.
I lived right down the street. I was right live in Rosecrans, so I was always there. That was a happening spot. And then I practiced at night at Lakewood Country Club.
Yeah.
Well, hey.
But I'm not done because I'm a still back it up. I'm gonna go forward. And I go to his place, and I was like, yeah, good.
He's feeling good. He had to leave that morning.
Yeah, but that was a fast match. That went pretty quick, man. That's like 3-2 or 2-2 or something like that.
Oh no!
At this place.
Just
beat up on me real quick. And it got me again somewhere else.
You know when the brothers say 2 and 3 is like 1 and 1, right?
Did you and I play the 1 and 2s at USD?
Yeah.
I won that one.
No.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Oh, you want me to go through the?
No, I don't.
Second round?
I just remember winning that tournament.
You won it 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year.
But I beat you. I beat Pugh. I beat Baxter.
God.
He name dropping.
Yeah,
I ran into all those dudes.
Well, you made a name for yourself that tournament, buddy boy.
Wait, so what's the head-to-head record? 2-1? 1-1?
What?
The head-to-head record?
He got me, man. He light me up in singles, light me up in doubles. Still got that smile on his face. You never play a brother.
Those are good memories.
It was good memories. But he always was real cool with me. Because even when you didn't know me, you smiled, you was real cool. Then when I was playing you, I was just honored. I didn't put you on the God pedestal. I want you to understand that. Because that's what I don't do. I don't put any of us on that pedestal. Because, everybody can be beaten, but I admire you for how you played. Wow. You were tough. You were mean. I mean, you hit the ball so hard.
But he wasn't a whiner. He wasn't,
No, because he played tennis. He enjoyed himself.
He wasn't a whiner. He wasn't a whiner.
And let me tell you, it might not be that like it is now, but back in there, if you were bro and you were winning, most of the guys, you either were cheating or you were a whiner. So I'm gonna tell you.
And so Pete never said a mumbling word. He just went right to his business, and and that's why I've always really liked him, because he went, he didn't try all that.
But he's at the Riviera, and they're on my court, my teaching court, playing with Serena. And I think you just beaten up on her, but he gave props. He said, "Man, she's good." He said, "Man, she's good." I was on the outside the gate. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember.
Said she's
I
good.
was amazed. at her. She had won Wimbledon for the second time. Her agent called me and said, "Hey, can you arrange practice for her for the summer?
Yeah.
She's going to be here." I was like, "Yeah, I'll hit with her." And that was my first year at USC. Wow. And I told her that. I said, "Don't take this wrong, but wow, you're really good." It's like, "Yeah, I just won Wimbledon." There's good, and then there's,
Well, you played with her. Gave her props, man. I was on the outside of the gate and said, "Man, she's good."
But what made her good, though?
Man, she could take your power and just return it. Wow. Yeah, I mean, if you put it in her strike zone, it was just over. as you play a lot with the best women as a good male player, but I mean, obviously she was just different. She could just really take power, and she had power, but she would absorb it and just do. I mean, she said, yeah, I got that from practicing with Venus. I always had to return her serve, and so I don't mind seeing a hard serve.
Wow. Petey, how did you relate your college experience as a Division I player, and how did that help you be a great coach when you got there? Because you went through that path as a player too. So how did that help you?
Yeah. I mean, look, when I started coaching, I was young. I was 23, and I was the head coach at Long Beach State. I mean, it's crazy. So half of the team was my former teammates. And so actually that started with my communication, because we kind of had an assistant but didn't have an assistant. So they were like kind of my friends. I asked them all their opinions. So we were just communicating back and forth because I needed their help. And I stopped doing crazy things that you do with your friends when I wanted that relationship, but that was just very easy for me.
Good, yeah, wow.
So you started, let's track. How did you know you were done with your pro career and then you got the Long Beach? When did you know?
You were in that tournament. So Michael Chang grew up 7 houses down from me. So he was a kid that lived down the street, and he was not Michael Chang. He was obviously a good player, but I practiced with them, and I played him in Kansas. You were in that tournament.
Lawrence, Kansas.
Yeah.
Who won that tournament? Who won that tournament?
You won that tournament?
Boy, you were like 3 steps ahead.
No, go ahead.
3 steps.
I get excited, man. Go ahead.
But I went out and played him second round, and I swear, he was passing me, and as the ball was passing me, I could read Wilson, US Open. It was not fast, but I couldn't get to it.
Wow.
He was so quick and so precise, and I walked off the court and I said, I just lost to the kid down the street.
15 years old.
I'm like, this is, I gotta go do something else. And so I went, and I remember I was down. It was obvious. I was down like 6'3", 5'2", and I turned to one of the guys and I said, I think I got my last class picked out. Wow. I mean, I'm like, geez, wow, what is going on? And I knew I had 21 units to graduate. And why my parents let me leave school without graduating first, I have no idea. But so I said, well, okay. I mean, you're looking back on it, I was 350 in the world, which today, after 1 year, would be like, oh my God, this guy's incredible. But back then,
unbelievable.
My dad was like, hey, you gave it a try, you weren't good enough, huh? I just went that way, and I was going to graduate. I have no idea. I probably would have gone out and played again. Because I remember I said, I got no points coming off. I can go in January. I can do whatever. And one day, Larry Easley was the coach. And we did not get along. But he called me in and he said, I'm quitting tomorrow, and I'm going to tell them to hire you.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. I was stunned. So he did it, and they told him to hire me, and then they interviewed me. Yeah, it was amazing. I had this teacher, Dr. Nancy Briggs, and I said, Dr. Briggs, I'm going to have this interview, and I got a chance to become the coach. And she said, wait, what? And she stopped class, and she arranged the class to do a mock interview with me.
Wow.
So they all were like firing questions at me, and that was just class, hour and a half class of just that, and then I went straight from that class to the interview. So
did it help?
I don't know. Who knows? I mean, they hired a 23-year-old kid with no experience. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, obviously, Dr. Briggs, who is now a member or was a member at our club, and then I now the general manager at Jack Kramer Club, she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And she told me, she said, everybody sees you as a leader, Peter, except for yourself. So that was probably, I had a lot of people help me, but that was the first person that made me realize, like, okay, I could be something that I'm not seeing in myself. And so to have people like that in your life, I give her so much credit. And, I've told her that, so she was amazing to me over the years.
And how long were you at Long Beach, you said?
Long Beach was 4 years.
4 years. Then
I went up into the valley. I mean, man, I'd never been north of Bakersfield. I mean, north of Bakersfield was just like, what's up there? I have no idea. I remember I took a plane up there in the middle of summer. I landed, it was 110 degrees. I was like, what am I getting into? But I didn't have a job. I'd just gotten married. I needed a job. And I remember I sent 200 resumes out. Clubs, colleges. I don't know what I read that somewhere. You got to just go. And that was back in the day. It was letters, and I didn't know if they had a job or not. I just sent. And so I went up there, and it came down to Matt Anger and myself for the job.
My God.
Matt Anger.
Yeah.
And so,
Damn.
the athletic director met with me, and he said, well, you're our number one choice. You have some experience, and obviously you and Matt were both great players. And in my head, I'm like, he was a lot better than me. If he want to call me great along with him, I'm not arguing that one, but he was ranked a lot higher.
No, Matt was a great player.
Yeah, great player. I was like, I lost in the qualies of Wimbledon. He lost in the quarters, so a little different. But they were fortunate. I got the job, and that's when my career kind of really started. Fresno was incredible for me, and it was a great place to live and a great tennis community. It was amazing.
Wow. So that's 6 years?
Went 6 years, Fresno State, and we did amazing things that were top 5 in the country.
Wow.
You can believe that. We were round of 16 of NCAA's, round of 16, quarterfinals, round of 16, 4 years. Wow. That might be better than winning 4 NCAA championships.
Who was your top player at Fresno back then?
Was Rick Hardberg's brother.
Yes.
So Rick Hard had his younger brother come, and he lost in the finals in the NCAA.
You guys lost to Richard Berg, the guy with the go out there with thinking he had that forehand.
Yeah, of course.
That serve drove me nuts. It was that little lefty thing that had no pace and was all over the place. I hated that.
Well, yeah, he was
in
effective.
college tennis.
He was effective.
Ricard was quarterfinalist at Wimbledon, quarterfinalist at US Open.
I think he wasn't good now.
Yeah.
We just didn't want to lose to him. But, he was good.
Yeah.
So 6 years there, great time.
Yeah, a lot of success. And I wanted to come back to Southern Cal. I just felt, I loved Fresno, but I felt like I was a little bit on an island. And I wanted to come back to what I thought was Southern Cal tennis. And I kind of interviewed for UC Irvine, University of San Diego. But in the back of my head, I was like, I can get Pepperdine. And it was foolish thinking, really. I mean, when I realized what I did after I did it, I was like, wow, you're lucky. But I'd had some success. We'd beaten Pepperdine. So that was the key. When I was at Pepperdine, we beat USC, so they had that respect. And they offered me the job. I mean, it was a really, really funny story because back then, the dollars are different, but I was making $45,000 a year at Fresno, which was big money back then. and they offered me $75,000 to stay. And one of the boosters, still a good friend, said, I'm going to give you my house. I'm not going to give you the deed, but you could live there, or you could rent it out. You can just use it.
Wow.
And so I called up the Pepperdine AD, and obviously I was just trying to get more money.
Right. Yeah, leverage.
And Wayne Wright, and I said, hey, they made this offer, and what should I do? And I had a cell phone, and the only reason I had a cell phone is because I knew Jerry Tarkanian's assistant. And he threw me into Jerry Tarkanian was basketball.
Yeah.
He threw me in the deal. They got like 7 cell phones, and Jose was like, hey, we need an 8. And I got one. I mean, no one had a cell phone. So he calls me on my cell phone, and he goes, I'm withdrawing my offer. And it hit me. I was like, oh my gosh. This is my chance to get back to Southern Cal. And I remember in my head thinking, no, if he can speak, he's going to take away my job. I'm not going to allow him to speak. So I'm in my office, and I just run for my car. And I'm like, no, Wayne, no. I'm in my car. I've started my car. I just took a left on Shaw. I'm getting on the 41. I'm driving to Malibu. You offered me that contract. I'm going to be in your office in 4 hours, and I'm signing the contract. And all of a sudden, I hear laughter. And I'm like, excuse me? He goes, I was just making sure. We'll see you tomorrow. And I was like,
no way.
Oh, that's a story.
No way.
So, I mean, that made me, yeah.
Wow.
So that's it.
And good success there at Pepperdine.
Yeah, we had some great years, and it was great. And, we were always shoulda, woulda, coulda.
You talk about me sliding down in my chair. Fresno was great. He didn't give out no stats for Pepperdine, did he? Oh yeah, it was great. He tried.
No, we were as high as 2 in the country.
Okay.
We were top 5. We were
Good,
number
good,
3
good
seed in
stuff.
the NCAAs. We won the conference every
Good
year.
stuff.
But it didn't feel as
No, man, when I played against them, they had Bada and Brad Gilbert.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, how they ever going to have anybody better than
they had
those
some
two?
history, and, I was doing good, but after Fresno, it felt like, So, and I was frustrated because I wasn't getting the best kids from Southern Cal.
Oh.
Dick Leach was a coach at SC.
Now it's coming out good.
Yeah, Glenn Bassett was a coach at UCLA.
Right.
And I felt like I was, I'm there with them, but I couldn't
recruit the...
Yeah, I just couldn't. Wow. And so when USC came open, it just,
It was a no-brainer.
Well, I mean, there's a story there too, because I was at the NCAA tournament in Texas A&M, and my wife's like, are you interested in this job? And I said, honey, I played it through my head, and I'm good. This is our dream. We're living in Malibu, which wasn't that great, but and we're doing this, and we're good. And the guy walked up to me and he said, "Are you interested in USC?"
Because Ricky don't have a degree.
Yeah. And so
I don't think he would have won 5 championships either.
Fireworks went off in my head, and I was like, I'm interested. Yeah, I'm interested.
Of course.
And I never told a word. I didn't even say that to my wife. And I'm still at the NCAAs, and Daryl Gross, and he calls me back, and he says, well, Peter, if you're interested, then I'm offering you the job.
Wow.
He said, I'm officially offering you the job.
Wow.
And in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. And because in my head, I'm like, I'm taking this. I am taking this. And the NCAA tournament wasn't over. I hadn't gone back home. And I called my wife, and I said, hey, hon, they just offered me the job at USC. She's like, what are you talking about? And so she picks me up at the airport, and I'm like, hey, let's cruise by. Of course, I take the wrong exit, and we get lost, we pull up. Oh man, it was just terrible.
You take the wrong right.
Yeah. And she's like, you go ahead and take the job. It's all yours. It's all yours. And you will do it. She goes, but I'm out. She goes, I will support you, but, because Tammy, she's 33 years. She was always my assistant. Like, I ran everything through her, but the thing happened so quick,
Yeah.
And she was amazing, though. So she realized that was my dream. And she said, I'm going to support you. Yeah. But she did a real good thing. We went by to sign the contract, and I said, hey, my wife is not too happy. And so I remember Lisa Love met us. She was the assistant AD, so she goes right at my wife. And she says, what's the holdup? And my wife knew it was done. Like, I was going to take the job, and she goes, well, you didn't give my husband enough money. Which was not something we talked about.
Right.
So she got a bigger contract for me. Oh! Contract to make her happy.
Wow. Well, you didn't complain.
No, I was good. So then we moved back to Long Beach. I remember we moved back and we're out on 2nd Street, and I was saying to Tammy, these are my people. We're back to my people. I'm out of the groove. I'm back.
Oh, and I
got some diversity. Please give me something. Yeah. So it was great. So our kids grew up in Long Beach, and it was just a great run.
If you are enjoying this podcast, please subscribe on YouTube at A'lotta Racket Podcast, and follow us at A'lotta Racket on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and also my website, CoachRogerSmith.com, where we offer exclusive content, courses, one-on-one sessions, and more info on how you can join our community of tennis enthusiasts. All right, so welcome back to A'lotta Racket Podcast, where we create a lot of racket. And again, our special guest, Peter the Tool Smith. We're going to get to the tool, but before we get there, you give me some time to think about how you're going to answer that.
No. Because if you let that one go, you cannot let that one go.
We ain't going to let that go.
Here's the thing. I got Slinger and the Tool. That's a double team. That's a double team. Huh?
That was it.
Where I grew up, the Tools. You know what the Tool was, right? So there's cats that got a toolbox. His name is Bruce Brescia. And there's other guys that got a tool. Okay? Hold your hand up, Pete.
I have a toolbox.
All right. So that's a Slinger and a Tool. Okay.
Brother from another mother.
I'm clear on it now.
You didn't know that.
Brother from another mother.
All right, there you go.
Okay.
What they call you, Troy?
Coach Peter.
That's not what they call me.
With a victory.
Okay.
Victory, Sweet Pants, Collins.
Sweet Pants? No, wait. You delete that. Ain't nothing Sweet Pants about me, man. What the hell is he talking about? Sweet Pants?
That's what they
They're trying to get me run out of LA. Who calls me Sweet Pants?
New York?
No, it's the Sweet Pants. Sweet Daddy, what about Sweet Pants?
So listen up. So, a lot of what we do on this podcast is we try to educate while we have fun. And you have
Roger a clown, ain't he?
You have a coach here that said, the most winningest coach, man, of the decade, of the last 25 years. Along your way to all the success and achievements, we all run into obstacles. It doesn't matter. We all run into obstacles. And we like to educate the public on, look, it doesn't just happen overnight. There's things that go on that you have to overcome. And not only that, there's always either someone or an organization or a group of people or a team of people that you lean on to get over the hump. Can you share any of the obstacles? You don't have to go details along the way.
Yeah, I mean, I said earlier that, tennis was with me because I was the youngest of 5. And, I was just kind of following my brothers around. I had 3 older brothers, and 2 of them played tennis pretty seriously. They played college tennis. And my oldest brother died of AIDS. When I was 26, he was 36. And that really made a big difference in my life. And after, you know, when you watch someone pass from something like AIDS.
Not someone, your brother.
Yeah, my brother.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, after that, man, there's not going to be any bad days. There's just not going to be any bad days. And, you know, I like, he was my first tennis coach, and, you know, it was tough. He died in my bed. My mom, who was, you know, probably the biggest force in my life. She was a force. I mean, you know, she, you know, you did something wrong, you got a soap in your mouth, and you went up, you picked out a belt, and she whipped you, and, you know, she was old school.
Yeah.
But in her infinite wisdom, she called me and she said, Kevin has passed, and we have saved him for you to say goodbye.
That's beautiful.
Wow. No, that was rough.
Beautiful.
I don't know if I would have done that. Like, so he was living in my bedroom, and I came down, and he was in my bed, passed away of AIDS, and that's not a pretty sight. And I was like, man, Mom, what? You know, but, you know, after seeing that, going through that, like, there's just not going to be any bad days. You know, you feel like, you know, he was robbed of something, and, you know, he died at 36. So I was 26, and I was like, you know, I got to live my life for him. And I carried that with me, and still carry that with me. So, you know, and I would say the other kind of force in my life is kind of a weird one, but was just tennis itself. And if I look back on my life, tennis just kept me on this straight path.
It is.
You know, and I think there's something to be said for, you know, having a tournament on Saturday morning, right? And not getting in trouble on Friday night because you got a tournament. Look, I was the youngest of 5. I could have done whatever I wanted to do in my house. My mom was tired when she got to me. She was like, she's like, you know, you don't have to come home at any time. Just come home. That was her only request. So, but, you know, I always had a tournament. I always had something. So it was always like
Structure.
yeah, it was like, you know, day after day, week after week, month after month of just, and then, you know, I played, and then, you know, Michael ended those dreams and went back to school, and then I was coaching. It was just like one after another. But I think one of the abilities I had was every morning I feel like I wake up with a clean slate. First of all, I'm an early riser. If I sleep till 5, I thank God every morning, because I'll wake up a lot of times at 3:30. I used to, when I coached at USC, I was so excited. I would go to work a lot of times 2:33 in the morning.
Wow.
And I would, you know, I would take a nap in the day, but I was fired up for years and years. But you know, it was just tennis itself that I wanted to conquer the day, you know, win the day, whatever you want to say. I mean, I wasn't saying any of that crap in my head. I just wanted to do the best every day.
That's great.
Pete, I got a great question for you, man.
I have no idea what's going on.
Listen, brother, what advice do you give to those American players that don't get to go to USC and UCLA, and what give them some encouragement to continue to play tennis in college, even if they didn't get to SC or UCLA or Stanford? Because, you know, you get a lot of rants, and you guys get a lot of letters of people wanting to come to your school that, you know, they don't really, you know, but it's their dream to, you know. So what advice do you have for all these beautiful American high schoolers that play tennis and have invested in their dream, not what their parents want for them, but their dream, and they want to go on, and if they're not good enough to get into SC, how do we encourage them to continue to pursue, you know, tennis on a, you know, collegiate level?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that's, a lot of people just got it wrong. Look at all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you went to the biggest school, but
Wait. What school was that?
You call that bigger than SC?
They're gonna make him say it. You better say it. They gotta say it now.
Yeah, you can't say that whatever 30, 35 years ago that was like this great tennis decision you made. Right.
Yeah, right.
Hey, USC didn't take me. No, I got accepted.
That's
I got accepted. I got in, but I didn't have the money to get there.
Yeah.
I needed a scholarship.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get on the tennis team, obviously, because if you're coming from the Bahamas or if you're international, you couldn't play the national tournaments, right?
Right.
So it's all on who can kind of recommend you or whatever.
How did you get into Ohio State, though? What was the connection there?
My coach, Gardner Malloy,
Okay.
through my junior year, and his son-in-law was one of his assistants, played doubles with the coach at Ohio State, John Daly.
Okay.
And he asked me one day, because I was in Florida, right? I was looking at all these Florida schools, which I didn't want to go stay in Florida. And he asked me one day, hey, would you, contemplate Ohio State? Now, some of my buddies that play football, that's their dream. And I go, yeah, I'll consider it, And he kind of made the connection. When I told my friends I was going up on a visit to Ohio State, they were so jealous, right? Those football players. And the minute I got there, man, I just said, oh, this is it. Really? I'm signing. As soon as they send me the letter of intent, I'm signing.
Which, probably a lot of tennis people thought you were crazy.
Well, I had no choice. I had to go where I was offered a scholarship.
Yeah.
I had to.
But if you look at all of us, none of us went to SC or UCLA.
No,
so, I even when I was at SC, I would tell people, there's a lot of great schools. What you need is someone that believes in you.
Yep.
So, to say you're, play at USC and you're 10 on the team and you're practicing, that sucks.
Exactly.
And so you got to go somewhere that coach believes in you and that coach will work with you.
We got to get that out because, especially coming from Pete, a lot of our kids need to hear exactly what he had to say. And that's what I wanted to get out of him.
No, and that's so true because I was in a situation, obviously, with Errol.
Right.
And I always said to Errol, look, maybe you go to a big school, maybe you don't. That's not the most important thing. I feel you're good enough to go to a school where you can play in the top 3. If you play in the top 3, they have a good schedule, you're going to play against some great teams, some great players, and prove yourself. And that's how he got to LMU.
Shout out Tom Lloyd.
And it was like, that's better than any place you're going, again, like you say, play 7, 8, 9, fighting for 6 or 5 at this time, And that's the advice I give to Errol.
Yeah, here's the thing about tennis. It's a participation sport. It's not a spectator sport. Like in other, great sports, football, basketball, you can get in when the game's over or you can sub in. The worst thing about tennis is the 6 we put out or the 6 we're playing, and you got another 6 in the stands, and sometimes you can't throw them in for a third set or a second set. You just, it's a big decision. Right. And so, my 2 oldest sons went to USC. And my youngest, Coulter, went to SC. And then, I wasn't there. And he's like, I'm out of here, Dad. And I was like, good for you. You got to, now at this point, you're making a big boy decision. You're making a man's decision. And he's like, I want to go somewhere where, I can have a bigger part. And, he went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. And it's been incredible.
That's fabulous, man. That's beautiful.
It's been incredible. And so, it's funny. He just landed. I was looking at a text message, and I always get mad at him because when he gets a short forehand, he slices it. And I was like, you don't do that. And he's on the plane flying back, and we haven't been talking too much in the last week, and he said, I just want to let you know, when I was over in France, I just figured out that you're right. Those short forehands I should be hitting. I was like, wow, he learned some really big stuff there. Sometimes we were talking about this earlier. It's like, we have to create independence. I coach this one girl, Eva Jovic. She's top 10 in the world. She's 15 years old, top 10 ITF. She's incredible. Her dad, I don't know how many lessons I've given her, hundreds of lessons. He's been to 1% of them. 1%.
One.
He never shows up. And,
Wow.
and that allows us to have this relationship. And through this, she's obviously, she's 15, she's 10 in the world, she's a pretty special player. But her confidence, her motivation, her work ethic, all comes from her. And she has learned to develop that. I started working with her, she was 12, she's worked with some other great coaches and stuff like that, but she does it on her own. And she has this independent confidence that is remarkable.
How do you balance? Because I know you've had your fear of parents that want to get involved. We all have. How do you balance that? How do you control that? How do you manage that?
Yeah, my wife, Tammy, just said, well, should you do this? First of all, I do believe that if the parent's paying you the money they're paying you, they have a right to be at the lesson. I believe that. But their role should be of a supporter.
Support.
And I try and, look, my kids wanted me to be the dad.
Mm-hmm.
They really did. I was their coach. And we have an incredible relationship. That was the most important thing in coaching them, that I wanted to have this relationship. But most of the time, parents don't realize that the kids just want to be the kid and the parent. And sometimes you got to have it just a chat with parents. And fortunately, look, I'm 58. I've done a few things. I can have the experience, and they can hopefully respect me enough to listen to me and hear me out.
In college, the parents don't get involved in college?
Well,
You know why I say that? Because my youngest went to SC, and she was 18. So we tried to check on her grades and some other stuff, and because she was an adult, as parents, they didn't allow us any information on her without her consent.
Yeah, that was super frustrating because that happened to me all the time with my kids. And, they'd get an email, and what does every 18 to 24-year-old do with an email? They ignore it. And then I'd get like some bill at the house. I'd be like, yo, what happened? You didn't tell us about this bill. And they're like, what bill?
Yeah.
And then you call them up, and they're just, I'm sorry, sir, they're an adult. I'm like, no, they're not. Yeah, but that, look, I mean, I always said triangles don't work. It's got to be, if I'm dealing with Terry or I'm dealing with you.
Right, I like that.
But what happens a little bit, and what I saw over the years is, say, something happened at practice, or something happened in a match, and I did something, and what changed in the last maybe 5-8 years was then the parents are so involved. The kid would tell the story a little differently to the parent, and I was not. It took me a year or two to catch on to that. So when something happened, then I'd have to call the parent and give my side.
Yes.
Because then you just don't want to play catch up in that situation. But and that's natural. I think kids, they don't want to disappoint their parents, so they're, I wouldn't call it lying, but they're telling their version of it. And so there's always two versions, and you just look. I always tell this story about Eva. I'm old school. I'm old school. I expect a lot. You don't come on the court. You don't give me what you should be giving me. Yeah, you're going to hear it from me. I'm not going to accept it. I do not accept mediocrity.
Right.
Period. I don't accept it for myself. and I'm not going to accept it ever from my athletes. And, you know, Eva's practicing one day. I mean, she's really an amazing. And I said, look, Eva, I'm not out here to be your friend.
Right.
And she looked at me, did not miss a beat, and she said, you're doing a real good job.
At that day.
But, you know, and I would say like coaching Steve Johnson, you know, his father was a friend.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Stevie. Yeah, great guy. Come on, we all love him.
Super.
Yeah, well, you know, look, Stevie had great parents, and his father was truly an exceptional human. His father used to come and work with my kids, and he would tell my wife, I'm just doing what Peter is doing to my son. And it was amazing. You know, Riley got his big second serve from Steve Sr., but you know, Steve Sr. allowed Stevie and I to have a relationship.
Yes.
You know, and he told my wife once, he said, I hear Stevie say, I love you, coach. And he said, do you understand? Stevie doesn't say that to me. He goes, I know he loves me. But it was, you know, look, I loved my parents, but we never said I love you to each other.
Right.
Never.
Right.
And, you know, it was just something that I started, but to his credit, he allowed Stevie and I to have this relationship where it just blossomed. And because of that, you know, Steve Sr. was welcome everywhere, you know, all access. He was just the best. And I would call him all the time and say, okay, you know, what do you think? I got this. And that allowed us to have Stevie to have a better, and Steve Sr. and I to have a better relationship. It was beautiful.
Wow.
But it takes a different person to take a step back and let another person.
I tell this story to my players a lot, that I use this example. I used to practice with John McEnroe 2-3 times a week sometimes, and he would drive down from Malibu. I would go up to Malibu, and I was young, and I was ignorant. I always wanted to hit. So the way John practiced, he would go hard for 10 minutes, real hard, and then he would talk for 20 minutes. Then hard for 10 minutes, talk for 20 minutes. And I just wanted to play. I wanted him to hit the ball because I wanted to say, man, I beat your butt. I'm hitting better than you. But it's the best thing I could have gotten from John McEnroe was what's in his head.
Yeah.
And I used to just let some of his talking go in and out. And he didn't talk, right? He would always talk like, tennis related stuff that you really could benefit from. And so we're picking your brain right here as one of the best coaches ever. And my son now has gotten into college coaching. By the way, kudos to you and your family. Your kids are great. Every one of them. You know, I have a relationship with them, with tennis, and Errol also. Now, Errol has gotten into tennis, and my dream is for him to at least or somewhere get in the ballpark where you were at, as far as results and helping a lot of kids. You know, he recently was he played a big part in the NCAA champion, the women's champion this year. For someone like Errol or an aspiring coach, college coach, what advice would you give them?
Well, you just said it, right? John McEnroe. You know who I stuck by all the time? Dick Gould.
I love Dick.
Yeah, so he was like a mentor to me,
Right.
And he might not have even known it. I would be like a puppy dog.
I should have went to Stanford. You know, he loved the bros. You know, I had 3 or 4 bros that were on his team that were my buddies. He recruited bros.
Well, Dick is just a wonderful,
Good, great guy, yeah.
wonderful, and so like, you know, being around someone like Glenn Bassett, I was always asking questions.
Oh, yeah.
Always. You know who calls me all the time?
Yeah.
From college tennis?
Who's that?
Only one person. Not many.
Who's that?
Andres Pedrosa.
Wow. Okay. Shout out to Andres Pedroso, man.
And
Virginia.
He's one of the last
Great guy.
days, and I'm not
Went big.
taking, but always just trying to get better. That was the one thing I loved about being a college coach, because I had a season, and then you had kind of a summer to like just let it all sink in, and I was always trying to get better. I was reading every book. I was talking to people. I was watching. Now I'm at a club, and man, I got a day off. It's hard to regroup when you get one day off,
Right.
or half a day. I mean, I work today, but when I coached, I felt like it was one season, 32 seasons. So I was like, man, I got to get better. I got to get better than that guy. It was that mentality of tennis, like
Just getting better.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I was, we trained with the SEALs, we trained with the Marines, that's how I met Sergeant Major.
Yep.
Yes.
Shout out to Sergeant.
Sergeant.
So you're just trying to meet all these incredible people and just have you get better. And I would bring in people to talk to my team, and I would be like, well, if they can't help my team, maybe I pick up one nugget. And I was, Tammy would always say, man, you're so open-minded. I was like, you're just not, honey. I'm actually not open-minded. No, but I would always say, look, if I try 10 ideas and 9 of them fail, I'm 10% better. That's how I looked at it. And I had a lot of things fail. I mean, failure.
No such thing.
So, and there is no such thing in sports as failure. But, it was just always about getting better. And so, how do I get better? And sometimes you're young and dumb, and so it was interesting.
Pete, can I say something? Pete, I want to bring this up now, okay, because this is really, really important. We knew when Pete Carroll left USC that it would affect football in Southern California and all the black high schools. We knew that because he recruited from Southern California. We also knew when you left USC that the black tennis community would lose something extremely, extremely special. And that's you. You opened USC's campus up to black tennis. And you know that there is such a thing. And, I really love you for that, because here's a school, top-notch facility, that we can go cultivate our skills. There were black tournaments that he could have easily said no, but he said yes, and we were able to have tons of black tournaments there, or tournaments where the majority of the players were black. And so we have Rancho Cienega, Harvard, we have a number of so-called black tennis clubs in Southern Cal. And Pete really, really opened the doors. And, his humanitarianism in that affected a lot of lives positively. And I just want to be able to give you your accolades on that, and that, we love you for that, man. And it did affect us because we no longer had, you had the Mikasa Sukasa mindset when it came to us.
Yeah, I mean, here's my take on that. Like, SC was such an incredible facility. I was like, why is it just for us?
No, but everybody, but you're a special person, because most people don't take that. Most white men don't take that chance. Yeah. You don't even look at it as taking a chance.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, it was like, this should be for everyone. That's just how I looked at it.
Community.
Yeah. I mean, it is, look, we were super fortunate to build, and, we had this great facility, and we spent $13 million to make it one of the best facilities, if not the best in the country. And I wanted everyone to experience it, especially the community. So having, it was like, you get to go play at a college facility, SC UCLA. I mean, That's special.
Yeah.
You know, it gets people fired up. And I wanted people to experience that. That was it.
But that's Pete. Because I remember coaching Sloan and for a number of years. And we parted. And about 5 months later, we're watching her. And she was well on her way. And we're watching her in the semifinals of the Australian Open. And she lost. And I got a random text from this man. I don't know. Do you remember sending me that text?
Yeah, I do.
He sent me that text right away. Do you remember what you said?
Generally speaking, yes.
He watched and he says, he texts me and he says, I'm watching, and we all know where this is coming from. We all know, and it made me feel really good.
Good.
Really good. And I remember it was at night too, man, because of the time difference. And I didn't expect this text. And I got this text and I was like, wow. So you don't even know what you're doing, just like Troy said, when you're doing these things. It's just you as a person. But it can help anyone. If it can help me, you know it can help kids in the inner city, kids in the community, parents, whatever. You just don't know. And you do that without doing it with a purpose. You know, you're just doing it.
You just try and do the right thing. You know, and it's not like, I've always just tried to do the right thing. You know, you're not successful. You know, we all make mistakes and we all, you know, but for me, it was like, you're just trying to do the right thing. You got to give credit where credit is due. And, you know, it was, I didn't know what state you were in, but I knew that you made a difference and that should be recognized.
Right.
Period.
Well, I appreciate you. We all appreciate it.
And that's why he's here today, because we want you to know you have made an incredible. Man,
Go ahead, just go.
We got to get Bluetooth.
I got it.
Dude, you're the star of the show.
No, let's say that, Pete. No. Listen, Pete, it's the same thing we're saying to you. I was excited because, you know, we just want to thank you, man. And and I'm speaking for, you know,
all of us.
Yeah, all of us, and your inclusiveness, brother. And it will go down as a part of your legacy, man. And we love you for that, brother. I mean, you know, it's just that simple, you know. And one other thing, man, when you walked on that SC campus the first time, you were around all those other great coaches and all that. How did that feeling, you know?
Well, it's kind of a funny story. I was at Pepperdine, and you know, I'm religious, but I'm not that religious. Right. I believe in higher powers and all that. But at Pepperdine, you prayed. Yeah. Every meeting you prayed. I mean, it was a little over the top. I mean, it was like, okay, we're at a meeting, and I went to my first meeting at USC, and I was like, oh man. There's no praying going on in here. I mean, PDs going on in there. I was like, whoa. I felt like I went from high school to, you know, it was just so different.
Wow.
But, you know, the one guy, and here's another, you know, look, when I was at Fresno State, I hung out with the basketball coaches. When I was at Long Beach State, I hung out with George Allen, the football coach.
Yes.
I was asking him questions, and, you know, I was just trying to, you know, and when I was at SC, I tried to spend as much time as I could with Pete Carroll.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And so, you know, Pete is, and, you know, he's just a special human. And, you know, so, you know, that greatness is there, but, you know, you have greatness all over the place at SC, like the track guys. I mean, wow, you know, Olympians, incredible.
Yeah.
So just to see that, it's pretty cool to be a part of.
Yeah, wow.
I want to say something to you. You spoke about your brother, and by you speaking about your brother, other people hearing this
Yeah.
and being encouraged not to quit, to fight on, to move on. I've lost a sister.
Yeah.
Dear to me, close to me, like that. And, for tennis for me, it was like, I want to make a lot of money to take care of my family. I want to do this. I want to do this.
Right.
And I had to finally got what I wanted for myself, not what I wanted to give to everybody else. You've had the opportunity to coach your sons at the school, to be with them and to watch them grow up and, as men. And I commend you a lot, man. I think you're just helping out the community. I think you're stepping stones, You got Long Beach, you got Fresno, you got places that you touch people.
Malibu.
And you touching me as your brother right now.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you, Pete.
Yeah, and we should say a shout out to all the HIV beautiful people in the world and all those that have been affected by the loss of family members and friends with AIDS. Absolutely. I also have lost a family member to AIDS. And so we want to give a shout out to that struggle and to everybody of the community. Keep fighting on, and we just send nothing but universal love to everyone on that.
You ever win a tournament dedicated to your brother?
Yeah, yeah, I'll cry talking about it. But,
It's okay.
whenever I would have a match point, I had a serve I would hit, and I would call it Kevin's serve.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was a inside out pronator on the ad, which is nuts. To hit.
Hold on. Troy, you seen that, sir?
Oh, I missed that.
Did you feel that on match point?
I missed that, man. Kevin, sir.
I was on the side with him, so
you had the power.
Use it.
You had the juice with you.
We played each other.
we never played.
Yeah, I never got far enough.
We never.
He didn't mess around down there.
So, he mentioned Michael Chang. He beat Michael 2 rounds later. He beat him bad.
Yep.
He beat him bad. And I was like, oh, man, he's not going to school. I'm going to school.
I guess Ohio State was the right choice, huh?
But for sure, the inspiration. Just my generation. I remember seeing people like Carson, all the kids at Carson when USC had. So I'm like, where's my USC hat? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, this is you. It was everyone had the USC hat. You knew he was a baller, and everyone around Southern Cal was wearing that hat because of you. They said I got this hat from Peter Smith. So it's even my generation. I know you've been inspiring later, even before my generation. But every time I come to play against you guys, you brought that out of me. You bring that out of everybody.
Yeah.
That competitive spirit,
Yeah.
that will, that love for the game. Because when people talk to you, and even you were talking when I was just yay high, you inspired me to go harder. You said, "Come on, man, you go a little harder than that. Come on, you go a little harder than that." And I'm just like, "All right, I can go a little harder than that." So just the inspiration, man. Everybody knows who you are. And you inspire me to I'm coaching now in college tennis, and you inspire me to try to, just like you were saying, try to beat your record if I can get there. But thank you so much.
I don't even know who the USC coach is.
Don't worry about it.
Brett Macy.
Who?
Brett Macy.
Did they win any championships?
They did well. Didn't they get to the semis?
I didn't ask you that. No. I said, did they win any championships, man?
They've won.
That's not.
They've won some Pac-12 championships.
No. The standard is NCAA champions, man.
For who?
For USC. All right. So no. All right. Well,
I would say at USC, it's just a different record book. That was done in the 60s, and they won all those championships, and that's just the standard.
At Talbot Center, man.
Yeah.
Come on, it's the Stan Smith Center. Come on, man.
I just think
it should be renamed now to Pete Smith Center, right?
We're
talking
way off here.
Don't wait till the brother go in the grave and then say, "Oh, Pete was a great coach. We loved him. Let's name the stadium after him now."
We gotta cut him off.
Hey, y'all name it while we alive, okay? Don't wait till us old heads is gone.
Point made.
Well, I would just say back to you, Errol. I mean, thank you, but I would just say like having the ability to compete, like that to me is a real honor and blessing, however you want to call it. Like, I love competing. I mean, I love winning, and you kind of, in a way, you don't like losing, but just having that ability to have the choice to win or lose, just having that,
There you go.
that gratitude and of just honoring that competition. I mean, when we were playing like a big match or playing an NCAA championship, I used to pinch myself. I used to say, man, I actually get paid to do this. Wow. I get paid to do something I love on this stage, and it was just the best. It was just the best. So that's all I would say is just honor that and just enjoy that.
We are just so honored to have you, man. When I contacted you and you committed, first you said, yeah, let's do it. And then when you committed a few days ago, I was like...
Well, why do you think you committed a few days ago? Let's talk about that.
No.
Raj, I'm coming, but I had no idea what I was walking into.
Yeah, because the tool and the slinger. He didn't know what was going on.
I might not have done it. You didn't give me all the information, but if I knew I was walking into this, I might not have said,
Hey, how did you like the Bahamas, the 242? Anyway, shout out to the Bahamas.
that was, I mean, I tell you what, that is a beautiful place. We're gonna go back there a lot. It's like, why have we not been here? But yeah, wow, beautiful.
I invited you,
I don't
back in the day.
You did.
Oh, yeah.
I was stupid.
I invited you.
That was dumb.
Because I came
Told you I failed a lot. That was a failure.
after we played that satellite, I came to LA and I hung out with you one day in Long Beach. I don't know if you remember. I came to your place. We hung out one day and all that stuff. And what was the other kid? His daughter plays now. He went to USC. Failer, yeah. We hung out and everything. And
The three of us hung out. Wow, what a threesome that
full.
was.
And then you and I. Then you went back to your, he had that red Corvette.
He had the red Corvette. I mean, the most unlikely guy to have that. Well, he loved that thing, man.
He still loves it.
Oh, man, he could drive that. Yeah, that was incredible for him to have that car.
Man. But look, man, it's just an honor. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it. You have no idea. And again, this podcast is really to connect and educate. And someone somewhere learned something today. Learned a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
If they were listening. And this is what this is all about. And I just want to thank you so much, man. Truly, truly appreciate it. We're blessed.
Yeah, thank you.
We're blessed.
Shout out to Mrs. Smith, who's the power behind the throne.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, we call her boss lady.
That's right.
Man, he was the tool, man. The tool.
No.
I had a lot of nicknames.
That was a name given to them, not coaching. You can't be a tool coach. He was a tool before he started. He bought a toolbox. He bought a toolbox. Yeah, a toolbox and coach him. He was a tool.
Thank you for your time. I know you're busy, man. Truly appreciate it.
Shout out
Drop
to Peter
the mic.
Smith. Great job, guys.